All right, welcome into first round mock with the scout, Daniel Kelly. How are we, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing well, Stacy. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Looking forward to a deep dive on your latest, greatest talent in the 2023 NFL draft on first round mock. And it looks like we're going to look at one of the guys on the outside again, one of the wide receivers, Mr. A.T. Perry out of Wake Forest, NFL draft wide receiver one, as you can also follow along on firstroundmock.com. Okay, Scout, what do you like about this kid? Where do you see him going? Give us the deep dive.
Absolutely. There's a lot that I love about this guy, and I've loved it for the last 2 seasons. And that's one of the things we're doing at First Round Mock this year in our inaugural season is we're looking at 2 seasons, a full body of work on the top guys that we really like, just trying to close that margin even more. And of course, everything we do at First Round Mock is founded upon the game film study. Game film trumps every card on the table. 2021, I looked at A.T. Perry against Clemson, FSU, and Pitt, held accountable to those games. 2022, Clemson, FSU, Louisville, Boston College, and Vanderbilt. And listen, you just know that you know that you know. And that's how I felt when I started watching A.T. Perry play wide receiver for Wake Forest. Within the first 20 seconds of watching him on film, I wrote down the side of my notes, this guy has star power, and every single thing he's done since that first 20 seconds of film for me has proven that to be true. This guy looks like he can take over a game. As you can see there on your screen, he is first round mocks WR1, wide receiver one, head into the 2023 draft after putting up 2 straight seasons of 70 plus catches, 1,000 plus yard seasons. This is someone who's not getting much love from the NFL draft community, folks. Only 4.1% of the NFL draft platforms out there see him as a first round pick. So that leaves it to us to give him all the love. And what stands out to me? Well, there's a lot that stands out. This guy is a difference maker, period, okay? It's someone who's worked in the National Football League. That's my thought on A.T. Perry. He's a dominant receiver with speed, strong hands, good athletic ability, and he's a little bit inconsistent, which I'll touch on as far as being able to on his release. But he's someone who can easily achieve with his size, athletic ability, quick feet. He can easily achieve route leverage against smaller corners. I keep going back to it. 6'5", folks. Okay, this receiver is. This is a big guy. And the thing that's interesting about him is for a guy this size, how crisp he is at the route break points. I really want to hit on this, Stacy, and to our listeners. This is one of the most, if not the most important attribute of a receiver to me is somebody who can change direction quickly at the route break points. And what do I mean? Well, you go up to, where the routes break off, he can cut on those routes very, very quickly. He can accelerate in and out of his routes. And he can also, he's pretty fast too from a stopped position. The guy has some real get up and go to him, okay? This is, something else too I really love about A.T. Perry is just a dominant he is of a personality. He has a defensive-minded, very aggressive attitude. This is the way I would talk if I was sitting in an NFL war room and my name was called to discuss this player, okay? This is how scouts talk. He bullies corners, okay? That's the bottom line. He can bully corners to achieve separation. He's very, very handsy. A lot of hand checking. He gets very physical with corners, and so he can get separation that way, or he can just play and put on the moves like he's on a dance floor, like I'm talking about, and he can break off the routes that way as well. Another thing I love about this guy really resonates with me. Why? He's highly emotional, okay? He cares. He shows off some. He's a showboat. He's really, really good, and he's going to let you know it on the football field. I mean, this is what he does. He's a guy, like I said, that's just very dominant. He swats away corners like Stacy, you and I would swat away a fly in the kitchen. Okay, that's
Wow.
how dominant of a personality is. He's good short range. He's excellent in intermediate range. Because of his release, as far as being able to achieve leverage. He's also got above average yakety yak yards after the catch ability. He makes great adjustments. Okay, turn up your volume. Great adjustments to the ball deep. He's got those big old long arms, big wingspan, very confident hands to pluck the ball and get ready for this. He can blow the doors off a secondary. This is somebody who has legitimate deep speed, 4.48 recorded 40 speed. He can get a step, 2 or 3 ahead of corners on the deep passes. Now, here's what's interesting about him, guys and gals listening, is you remember I talked about a minute ago about how good he is, how excellent he is at the intermediate level. The reason why he's so good at the intermediate route level is because of that deep threat and because of that size. Okay, corners have to respect A.T. Perry. They have to respect his deep game so he can drive off corners vertically and he can just he can come right back. You know what I mean? He just come right back downhill and a comeback. He can break it off outside, break it off into the inside against smaller corners. This guy has the same dominant alpha personality as Seattle Seahawks DK Metcalf. Okay. This guy,
Wow.
that personality, he's got that to him. Okay, he's a guy that has the size to go along with, as I talked about, the speed, and he's really can dominate that intermediate route level. I can't emphasize that enough. That's why I'm touching on it a couple times. Weaknesses, right? Tony Rosando, the guy that taught me how to scout with his book when I was 17 years old, Secrets of NFL Scouts, said there are no 10s, right? There are no perfect players. Heck, I mean, even Barry Sanders wasn't a power rusher, right? It's not a short line, goal line guy, right? There's always weaknesses you can find with guys. He does, A.T. Perry, he does get a tad bit lazy running his routes at times, and also, as I mentioned, with his releases. That's something that bothered me a little bit. He's inconsistent as far as being a deep playmaker. He leaves a lot to be desired when it comes to high pointing, deep balls, heavily contested catches. He's someone that needs the ball in front of him. Now, if he gets the ball in front of him, if you got a quarterback in an NFL team that can get the ball in front of him, good night. Okay, he is going to take it to the house. And according to Pro Football Network, they recently talked about his performance at the East-West Shrine Game, and they talked about how dominant he was in every single kind of way, which I talked about in my article. There's that Stacy has up on the screen. If you go to firstroundmock.com, you can see it, or if you're already on the site, you can just click on where it says search there, just pull it on the search bar and look for the article. They talked about in the story how he was dominant in every way. He got separation. He physically beat down corners at the event, is the way they put it. And in a nutshell, he couldn't be covered. So that sounds pretty good to me. Listen, when I watched A.T. Perry, and I've been around this game like you, Stacy, 40 years plus, right? And when I watched the game film, the names will pop into my mind. Okay, I have an encyclopedia full of names throughout the years, and names popped, through my mind of a CeeDee Lamb when I watched A.T. Perry play. Justin Jefferson is another name that popped into my mind. Al Toon, you remember him? The New York Jet. Keyshawn Johnson, a guy that I worked in pro scouting. He was out there with the Jets. Des Bryant. Listen, when I saw A.T. Perry start doing snow angels in the end zone after a touchdown, the first thought that went through my mind, remember when Des Bryant, put that popcorn in his face, that famous shot?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, he's got some of that to his game. He's got some of that dynamic take over a game. He's that guy. Everybody knows that he's got some of that to him for sure. And really, he's the only true X alpha wide receiver to me that's first round worthy with a first round value in the 2023 NFL draft. All the rest of my first round wide receivers room that I'm going to have on my board at the end of February here are all like number 2 receivers. Zay Flowers at the end of the first round is more of a slot receiver. Unpopular opinion. I want the NFL draft community to turn up the volume and save all the receipts. Let me say that loud enough into the microphone so we can all hear it. Okay, listen, this is a first round grade, a first round pick. I have a top 10 grade on A.T. Perry. Get to know the name. Fantasy football fans out there, people that run fantasy teams, get to know the name A.T. Perry. This guy has a knack for dominating corners at all 3 route levels. And I can't say enough good things about A.T. Perry. Not many of them excite me, but this guy excites me heading into the 2023 NFL draft.
Okay, Scout. Great deep dive on a kid that I don't think is at the top of a lot of people's list. Not on the radar as much as he is with you. Where do you think he lands? Where do you think he gets picked?
That's unknown at this time. Somewhere in the top 10, he'll end up going.
Gotcha. Okay, folks, we'll follow up on all of this information and a whole bunch more at firstroundmock.com with the scout, Mr. Daniel Kelly, as he takes a deep dive look at some of the key players that he sees in those opening rounds of the upcoming NFL draft, which is, let's be honest, just a month or two away. And so for a lot of us that are done with football season, our team isn't playing in the Super Bowl. We're looking forward to the draft. Thanks, Scout. Firstroundmock.com. Follow along.
You're welcome. Thanks for watching, everybody.